The senator from Kansas.
Mr. President, health care is in a crisis. What Republicans want to do is to put patients in charge, not insurance companies. But the first thing we need to do to fix Obamacare is to address the fraud in Obamacare. If we can't agree on this, I don't know how we can possibly begin to fix Obamacare. I refer everyone to recent week's Government Accounting Office report. They show people enrolled without consent, subsidies flowing from the federal government to insurance companies from people who don't even know they're enrolled in Obamacare. They show that there was toddlers enrolled in Obamacare. They demonstrated 58,000 dead people who were enrolled in Obamacare, each of them having premiums sent to insurance companies on their dead bodies' behalf for some 9 months on average. We saw one Social Security number being used over and over again. In fact, over a third of the people on Obamacare didn't file a claim. Now, I'm not saying that all those people are fraudulent. In a group of otherwise healthy folks, maybe 20% of people don't file a claim. But from 2021 to 2024, we saw that number of people not filing a claim went from 19% to 35%. And that's when the enhanced subsidies kicked in, and therefore many people had zero premiums. So the federal government was paying their entire premium. Again, we think that this report demonstrates billions of dollars of fraud, very often estimated at some $25 billion. And that's why we introduced our bill, Senate Bill 3380, the ACA Marketplace Integrity Act, to stop the fraud. Who could be against that? Who could be against stopping the fraud? And our solution, I think it's pretty simple. First of all, mandatory identification verification for enrollment. Look, you can't get on an airplane. You can't get a hotel room. You can't rent a car without an ID. So let's verify identifications. That's going to help decrease the fraud. Secondly, we're asking for a minimal monthly payment from everybody involved in Obamacare. We're asking for $5, the cost of a Big Mac, maybe a Big Mac meal. For $5, we're asking people to contribute to their own health care insurance. And we don't think that's too much to ask. How's that going to prevent fraud? Well, look, if you're seeing $5 taken out of your paycheck or your bank account or your charge to your debit card every month, you're going to sit there and say, what's that coming from? And if you contact the person where that debit's going to, then you're going to find out, it's an insurance company. I know we've all had something similar to that to happen to us where we signed up for some type of streaming service years ago and you can't get it off your credit card, but it just keeps reoccurring. So what we're asking for is a minimal monthly payment of $5 from everybody on Obamacare. Now, my friends across the aisle, they're going to say that eliminating a $0 premium will prevent people from getting a plan. And then it's a trap to dismantle the ACA. Look, I'm not trying to dismantle the ACA. I'm trying to fix it. I'm trying to fix it for the folks who've seen their premiums more than double, people whose deductibles that went from $1,000 a year to $15,000 a year. Why would we want those fraud dollars going to the insurance companies of all things? Let's take that same monies and fund healthcare savings account. Now, the next point we do with our bill is we codify President Trump's integrity rule to strengthen verification. I think that just these simple tests, these simple solutions will decrease the fraud. And I think what consumers need to realize, just like, is shoplifting. Even though the day you're there shopping, someone shoplifting doesn't impact the price of what you're paying, but eventually it does. So this shoplifting, this fraud that's going on, where we're taking good hard-earned taxpayers' money and sending it to insurance companies, is driving up the cost of health care for everybody. And every wasted dollar skips the real care that's needed. I don't know why my Democrat friends want to prioritize insurance companies over real people and shrug their shoulders at fraud while fighting subsidy cuts. What we as Republicans demand is honesty, accountability, transparency. And then we're going to redirect these subsidies. Let's redirect the subsidies, empowering patients over insurance companies. And again, all with transparent services. But we have to start with anti-fraud. If we can't agree to stop funding imaginary enrollees, what can we agree on? If it's not our plan, then what's the Democrats' plan? Show us a plan that fights fraud. In Kansas and every state of this union, resources are blessings. You know, it's Christmas time. It's a time to remember other people. I truly want every person in America to have meaningful, affordable access to health care. And the Republican plan does that, but we have to start by stopping the fraud. Let's not waste hard-earned taxpayer dollars. Let's stop throwing good money after bad money. This bill will stop the fraud. It's going to prioritize patients, and I urge every member of the Senate to help us immediately stop the fraud. Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that as if in legislative session, notwithstanding Rule 22, Finance Committee be discharged from further consideration of Senate 3380 and the Senate proceed to its immediate consideration. I further ask the bill be considered read a third time and passed, and that the motion to reconsider be considered made and laid upon the table.
Is there an objection?
Mr. President,
Senator from Georgia.
Reserving the right to object. Listen, I've had the honor of working with my friend, the senator from Kansas, on many issues. And I welcome him to join the conversation on our side of the table about how to get people affordable health care. I can tell you that as I move across the state of Georgia, which is a non-expansion state, much like Texas, people are trying to figure out how they're going to keep their health care. In about a month, folks will see their health care premiums double on average. For some, it will triple. For others, it will quadruple. People will lose their health care. And some people will die as a result of that. Health care policy in general is a matter of life and death. We've seen the Republicans through their big ugly bill cut $1 trillion out of Medicaid. 15 million people lost their health care. Now 22 million people are going to see their health care double on average. That is the problem that we're confronting right now. And I have not heard a solution from that side of the aisle about how to fix that. And so I object that we would add yet another 1 million people who will not be covered as a result of this plan that my colleague from the state of Kansas is offering this evening. And it is particularly harmful for non-expansion states. Some may reasonably ask, why these $0 premiums? Well, Georgia, like Kansas, is a non-expansion state. And the truth is, a lot of these folks who have the $0 premium plans, they would have $0 if they were in an expansion state. And so for me, it's a matter of fairness. I'm standing up for the people in my state of Georgia. 500,000 Georgians are in the health care coverage gap. If they lived in California, if they lived in New York, if they lived in North Carolina, they'd be covered. And so for that reason and others, I object.
Noted.